she gets, like, more money than me. And I don't think it's right.
It isn't right. There's no way round that. It isn't right. It sounds like your employer is ripping off the scheme.
Yeah, they are, because...
Well, your employer may well be. They're not all.
No, but they still need you. Even if they didn't
Indeed, that is what I said, Lindsay. Your employer sounds to me as if your employer is ripping off the scheme.
But if they didn't have a youth training scheme, they'd still need the people to do the work.
That is exactly what I'm saying, Lindsay. I'm agreeing with you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
How do Philip? Seems we're too late for Philip. Hello, Ian.
Hello, Alan. I want to talk about the soft pornographic literature that's available in newsagents today. Well, what I want to say about it is I think it's disgusting and degrading that newsagents should sell that kind of filth in a place where children congregate, say.
There are rules and regulations about their ability to sell it, and that is that it must be on an uppermost shelf, out of the reach of young children.
But I've been in the shop many a time when there's been, like, say, in W.H. Smith's in town.
You're not allowed to name shops on this programme. Goodbye. How do John?
Hello, Alan. I just got a letter this morning from the fishing club. We went fishing a few weeks since, and my youngest lad, he was reeling the rod in, and the fish fell off. He just got his head out of the water, and the fish fell off, and it was 23 pounds, 6 ounce, and they disqualified him.
How does he know it was 23 pounds, 6 ounce if it fell off?
It had scales on it back.
Thank you very much. How do Kit? Kit's gone. How do Chris?
Hello. What does a duck do when it flies upside down?
Oh, I can't remember. Oh, damn.
Oh, damn.
Remind me.
It quacks up.
Oh, that's it. Dear me, why couldn't I think of that? Ta-ra!
Oh, no.
How do Billy?
Hello, Alan. Yeah, I'd like to talk about lead poisoning, you know, on the swans by course anglers. Well, I go course fishing myself, Al. I've been fishing since I was about 7. I've never discarded, like, hooks, line or lead, like, intentionally. But I want to know why, like, they're picking on course anglers for the lead poisoning. I know that we do contribute to, like, some of the swans dying, but...
They're not picking on you. They're just providing you with another way of using weights. There is not one reason in the world now why anyone should use a lead weight for course angling. It's not necessary.
Oh, I agree with that.
That's fine. Then they're not picking on you. They're merely saying you have the opportunity not to use toxic weights. Please do so. Straightforward enough. Are you going to not use them in future?
Oh, I'll not use them.
Excellent. How do Mac?
Hello, Alan.
Yep.
I'd like to talk about, what's it now?
I've no idea. How do Trevor?
Hello there. The lady that was on before about the Aquamarina.
Go on.
The programme's called Stingray.
Thank you. How do John?
Hello, Alan.
Yep.
I was living in Portsmouth about just before Christmas, actually. And what it is, I was getting a reduced supplement on, you know, me supplementary benefit.
Yes.
It was reduced, you see.
Why?
£130 instead of 160. Now I moved back.
Why was the question?
House, and my mate still.
Why was the question?
Sorry.
Why was it reduced?
A new law came out that you could only stay in there for 4 weeks.
Right. Thank you. Progress.
I moved into my parents' house again, and my mate's still out in Portsmouth. Now he's just got a jar for £400.
24 hours a day, Red Rose Radio.
Why is it that when they're going to use their disgusting foul language, I mean the scum from Liverpool, of course, do they shout it quickly? Do they think I won't hear it if they shout it? Shows you their mentality, doesn't it?
The Italian Orchard of Broughton is one of the finest restaurantes and pizzerias in Lancashire. Spread over 2 floors with ample car parking, the Italian Orchard provides the perfect setting for dinner 7 nights a week and for Sunday lunch 12 till 3. Large parties are also catered for. Make your reservation now on Broughton 861240 or call in at Whittingham Lane, Broughton.
It's the place to come where shopping can be fun. The Newmarket Waterloo Road.
If you want to shop for the real bargains, you'll be well advised to visit the Newmarket and M2 Market on Waterloo Road, Blackpool. They're over the road from one another, which makes shopping for bargains all the more convenient. But beware of imitations. When you've found the Newmarket, you've found the M2 Market, and vice versa. Shop at the Newmarket and M2 Market, opposite each other on Waterloo Road, Blackpool. They're the original, and they're still the best.
It's the place to come, where shopping can be fun. The Newmarket, Waterloo Road.
Hello, Sue.
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about child abuse. When I was 10, my mother remarried to a younger man. And when I was 11, I was raped by him and was told that it was my fault and that I'd led him on and everything. And I was so terrified that I never told anybody at all. Only my best friend knew about it. Nobody else knew. And it went on about once every 8 to 9 weeks. And when I was 15, I was pregnant. And they were all, the family and everything, were all trying to get me to tell who the father was. And I told the social worker eventually. And all I got was off all my relations and everybody, because he was Mr. Charm himself to everybody else. I was just blaming him because I had nothing else to do. I mean, and at that time, with only being 15, I was guided along and I was put into a home for unmarried mothers. And one thing I regret now, that I gave my baby up for adoption, and I hope that somewhere she's being well looked after. But I can see it happening to somebody else, and this child is much younger. And I wondered if people really understood what gestures, you know, just a little pat on the backside off a man to a young girl, what it really means, you know. I mean, I've gone through this, and it's still with me. I mean, I'm in my late 30s now, and it still bothers me. I have 3 children of my own, and I'm so frightened. And I know there's a known sex offender lives in the same road that I do, and I can see him looking at children as they're playing, and it makes me so sick to my stomach. It's just, I don't think people realise how much it goes on.
Well, first of all, there's one point you made in the midst of that I think we need to look at, and that is that you said that you know of someone who is undergoing the same thing. In other words, you're alleging.
I don't think it's full sexual intercourse, but I think it's foreplay type of thing.
Indeed. But are you suggesting that a pat on the bottom, as you described it, is foreplay?
Well, no, that I didn't suggest as foreplay.
Okay, that's all right then,
no.
Because of course that could be, and indeed very often, most often, is just a method of showing affection, as it were.
Yeah, but my stepfather used to pat me on the back.
Indeed, but that doesn't mean that everybody that does is raping their daughter or stepdaughter.
No.
And we must get that clear.
Yeah. Now, this is the thing. I've reported it to the NSPC, saying they're looking into it. This one is by a cousin to a young
This
girl.
is the one you've reported?
Yeah, I have reported it. But, you know, I mean, people see it on television and things like that, and friends, and they read it in paper, and they don't know that it goes on. You know, I mean, when I was in that maternity home for unmarried mothers, I was only 15, there were people in younger than me, and nearly every one of them was pregnant by somebody they knew. 3 of them who had the babies in the same week as I did were pregnant by their fathers. And, surely the mothers know what's going on.
Often I'm prepared to accept that they do, but I know someone in your position cannot easily, but we have to consider the mother's position also. They face losing their loved one and their breadwinner to prison.
Yeah, I know.
So it's a difficult position for the woman in the triangle also.
If it happened to me, if it were my children, I'd kill him.
Indeed you would now, but you've had, and I don't use the word correctly, but you have developed that point of view as a result of your life, and therefore as a result of the experiences you described earlier.
Yeah.
Whether you would be that way, or so vehemently and adamantly that way, had you not had the experience you've had, is in fact debatable. I'm sure you would agree.
Yeah, it is.
Now, most women haven't gone through that, and therefore aren't forced to a point of view so easily, and are not prepared to believe what is all too obvious.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and other times they simply do not know, and other times they are afraid of the consequences of taking action.
I think sometimes, and I think in my case, my mother didn't want to believe that. Nobody wants to believe that somebody they love is doing something like that.
That's right.
I think that is a lot of things go on like that. It's because people, not that they can't see, but they don't want to see, and
there's none as blind as them as don't want to see.
Yeah, they don't want to believe it, and they, I know in another case of a girl who was raped by her father, and she just said, her mother gave her the explanation of, well, I'm sorry, but I've been getting down, and I've been really depressed, so I mean, it wasn't really his fault. How can you say that? I mean, it's not his fault, because it's me, because I'm not sexually adequate. I mean, he can just sleep with you, like,
But of course, that's loyalty, misguided, but loyalty nonetheless. Women, this is almost a sexist statement, and I'm sorry, but women are more ready to accept the peculiarities in their man than the man is in their woman, in his woman.
Yeah.
And that sometimes means that the woman will tolerate an awful lot more mental and physical abuse than any man would.
Yeah, I understand that.
And that can sometimes, in rare cases, be to the detriment of other members of the family, other members of their social circle, if you like.
Yeah, and, like, I wasn't brought up, I don't want you to think that I was dragged up out of the gutter. I came from a nice house. My mother had a nice house when my father died. We were quite well off. My mother had a pension. It wasn't, like people try to believe and try to say, though it's lower working class people that this kind of thing happens to. And it's not anybody who's respectable. It doesn't happen to them. And
it happens right across the social and financial scale, Sue. It knows no boundaries. Anyway, I hope you've put other people on their guard at least.
Yeah.
All right, love.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye that night.
Anu Paul.
Allan Beswick is dead cool, but he may be a bit of a fool, because he let me on. And before I'm gone, he's not a rasta, he's a bastard. And you'll see...
Doesn't even rhyme. How do, Dawn?
Hello, Alan.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about my brother. He's at forces, and every time he comes home, he's always calling my sister a nigger. And every...
Red Rose Radio, a far, far better furniture store.
Edmondson's of Blackburn, a far, far better furniture store. For lounge, dining room and bedroom furniture, for famous names in quality carpets, for all home furnishings. Edmondson's offers choice. Edmondson's gives first-class service, and Edmondson's guarantees value for money. All round a far, far better furniture store at Darwin Street, Blackburn.
A far, far better furniture store. Edmondson's.
Attention all decision makers, sales directors, sales managers and buyers. You cannot afford to miss the Lancashire Industry and Commerce Business to Business exhibition at the Exhibition Centre, Norbreck Castle Hotel in Blackpool. This extravaganza on a wide cross-section of industry takes place on the 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th of April, with over 200 companies represented. It's the Northwest's leading industrial event. So make a date in your diary for the Lancashire Industry and Commerce Business to Business exhibition at the Norbreck Castle Exhibition Centre, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th of April.
Blinking heck, Dad, why don't you get a decent radio to match this flash car?
Well, that one cost an arm and a leg, but it's never been much good.
Yeah, you need to contact West Horton Car Radio, mate. They've got superb systems by Blaupunkt and Panasonic. Hey, and they've got the Blaupunkt E-Stock range at less than half the normal price. None of this distortion like with one of them.
Blaupunkt what?
Blaupunkt. It's German, isn't it? I thought you were supposed to be brainy. Hey, you can also get electric windows, vehicle alarms and car phones fitted by West Horton Car Radio.
So, find the right station with West Horton Car Radio, Church Street, West Horton. Phone West Horton 814-229 before you crack up.
How do, John?
How do? Try this one, Alan. The quick, quiet cat quaintly crept in the crypt and crapped on the carpet.
They don't have carpets in crypts, thank heavens, because I won't have to try it now.
Hey, listen to this. Do you remember Fireball XO5?
Sort of.
Do you remember the monkey in it? Remember that
one
monkey?
that went...
That's it. What was its name?
No idea.
No?
No idea.
No. Last question. Can you tell me where I can get an application form for Postman Pat's job?
No. Try the BBC.
What about Chock-a-Block? The wife wants that job on the Chocker Girl.
Now you're now on to another question. You said Postman Pat question was the last one. I cannot talk to people who fib to me. Goodbye. It's time for the melodic moment. I thought we'd have two interesting tunes this evening. Why not? Great discovery of, I think, last year. Sade. This one, of course, is called Your Love is King. I suppose it is as well. What say you? If, for reasons of parsimony, or even just out of the goodness of your heart, or even because you have a boring life and you'd like to add a certain je ne sais quoi thereto, you could take part in the writing competition. The question is simple. In which television series has the character called Moxie become an Irishman? If you know the answer to that, put it on a postcard, a sealed-down envelope, or in a letter. Address it to me, Allan Beswick, Red Rose Radio, P.O. Box 301, Preston, PR11YE. The first correct answer out of the hat wins the top 3 LPs on Saturday, plus a free go at the jackpot when you could go on to win a weekend in Jersey this spring.
Ring him if you dare. Allan Beswick, the Late Night Show.
And the number, of course, is Preston 561,000. How do, Colin?
Hello? Hello?
What do you want?
Oh, I'd like to talk about abortions, please, Alan. Well, what I'd like to say is that I think that to terminate a pregnancy in such a horrible way is disgusting. I think it should be completely stopped.
Even in the cases where it is medically necessary?
Well...
It's a simple question, yes or no?
Well, what do you mean by medically necessary?
Well, if the doctor deems it to be medically necessary for the life of the mother, the life of the child, or both.
Yeah. Well...
Do you then believe it to be permissible?
In the case of if the life of the mother is in jeopardy, then therefore I would consider it permissible to abort the pregnancy.
So you would permit a disgusting thing to happen? Those were your words?
Yeah, they were my words, but...
A disgusting thing, you said?
I would consider it even more disgusting to allow a woman's life to be lost in, you know...
How about ruined?
How do you mean?
Well, a woman's life, having a pregnancy from someone she was raped by, could not be particularly pleasant for 9 months. Well, no, it takes 3 months to discover. But for 6 months of her life, she will have to acknowledge the fact that her body is creating a child as a result of a rapist.
Yeah. Okay.
What about that?
Well, I accept that, Alan.
Already, Colin, you are having your belief diluted.
No, I'm not.
In other words, Colin, you are prepared to have abortion permissible when it fits in with your morality.
No, that's not
That
true,
is absolutely true, Colin. You may not want it to be true, but,
Alan.
Colin, it is.
Right. Okay. Now...
So, Colin, you either think that abortion is unacceptable, or you think it is acceptable in certain circumstances.
Well, what do you think, Alan?
It's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant.
Absolutely irrelevant.
Okay, well...
If you are so unsure, so ashamed of your point of view that you need to challenge somebody else's, fine.
No.
But, Colin, let me put something to you. Do you accept that it is your view that abortion can be acceptable in certain circumstances?
I believe it's undesirable.
It's a simple question, Colin. I don't know why you want to complicate it with long words. Do you believe abortion can ever be acceptable, was the question?
Acceptable, yeah.
Right. Now, who do you think should lay down the laws of acceptability? You?
No.
No. So, others?
Yeah, I merely want
Which
to
others?
express my particular opinion.
Well, we're trying to find it out, you see, Colin. You haven't thought it out, so we're trying to get you to think it out now. Because you came on saying that abortion was totally unacceptable, but then we merely throw up a couple of simple examples, and your morality comes to the fore and says, well, on that occasion it could be acceptable. And then when I put to you that you think you should make the moral decision about abortion, you shrink away from that. And yet, Colin, you're not prepared to let others make the decision in case they make that decision not in accordance with your morality. Who are you?
Well, isn't that the case with everybody? I mean...
Don't defend it, Colin, in that way. If you are ashamed of your point of view, say so. If you are not, defend it honestly. Don't say, oh, well, I'm the same as everyone else. You're not the same as everyone else, Colin. You're unique. You're Colin. Be proud of it. Don't be ashamed.
Well, I am, all right.
Good. Then say so. You're proud of your point of view. You are proud of the fact...
Well, you pointed out that it's... I'll agree with you, it must be acceptable in some...
Colin, please don't agree with me. I haven't given an opinion. You asked me my opinion. I said it's irrelevant.
Right.
You're not having to agree with anybody, Colin. I've asked you...
Okay, I'll agree with your judgment of what I think. Okay.
It isn't a judgment, Colin. You're not innocent or guilty. Colin, all you have to do, Colin, is say what you think. Don't try and put the blame on
give me a chance and I'll say what I think, all right?
Let us hear it.
Although it's not desirable,
I believe that it's highly unacceptable for somebody to terminate a pregnancy if the circumstances, if otherwise it wouldn't result in some kind of severe, well, even bad feelings, I suppose, on the part of the mother in a case of something such as you said, like rape or something like that. But
now then, Colin, we have another problem. You see, you can easily accept that a woman undergoing a pregnancy as a result of the crime of rape could very easily suffer severe mental trauma.
Yeah, obviously.
I ask you, Colin, to use your imagination. Nay, I'll be totally offensive. Use your brain. Do you reject the possibility that a young girl, 17 years of age, 18 years of age, about to go to university and establish herself to herself, is caught pregnant as a result of a casual relationship with a boyfriend of some time, but not one who she wishes to spend the rest of her life with? What about the trauma of that girl? It may well, in her case, Colin, will you not agree, it may well be as traumatic as some other potential mother who'd been created into the realms of motherhood as a result of rape. In other words, this young girl may see it, however incorrectly. She may interpret her situation as seeing, no matter which way she turns, either adoption or becoming an early mother, no matter which way she turns other than abortion, she has a major trauma for the rest of her life. Now, in her situation, Colin, not yours, you'll never get pregnant. In her situation, facing acute mental torture, do you think she should be entitled to abort that child?
No.
So you are prepared to set up your advanced morality as to what a woman is likely to suffer.
No, that's not what I'm saying, no.
That is what you're saying.
No.
That isn't what you want to say. That isn't the way you want to dress it up. Well, the problem is, Colin, that you are going to dress it up in some other way now. What I want you to do is to face the fact that you, Colin, you want to decide what women will suffer or nay. You want to decide that.
But surely, Alan,
never mind, but surely that is a fact, isn't it, Colin? That is a fact, isn't it?
Fact, haven't you?
What is the vital fact,
The
Colin?
vital fact is that a woman who becomes pregnant through a rape has become so by no fault whatsoever of her own.
Indeed.
And therefore, surely a woman who becomes pregnant in other circumstances...
Are you suggesting then, Colin...
made wrong judgment...
Are you suggesting then, Colin, that the woman is to blame in the scenario I outlined?
Well, possibly, yeah. I don't
Possibly. What do you mean possibly? Is she or isn't she,
Okay,
Colin?
as I understand the circumstances you outlined, yeah, I believe she's to blame.
She's to blame.
Or at least partly to blame.
But the man also is to blame, Colin.
Yeah, he is, I agree
Now,
with that
what
too.
problem is he going to have, Colin?
Well, I'll agree he's not going to have as much problem as the woman is.
So you actually believe that two consenting, but otherwise immature, people are entitled to go on a course of action that results in acute trauma for one of them and the other one gets away scot-free?
But there's hardly any way of changing that without bringing in...
Well, there is a way of changing it. There is a way of changing it. The way already exists.
Yeah, as you say, an abortion. What about the other innocent person? The third party, the child.
Indeed. What about it? But if we're going to say that the child's life has a value, then you're prepared to debate the value of that life. You're prepared to say, well, the child's life, of course, is very important unless it was created by rape. But the child is just as much a child, be it the result of rape or the most amorous affection.
Yeah.
It is just as much a human being if it's a human being.
Yeah.
But you're prepared to kill a human being because it upsets another human being. I'm sorry, Colin. I think you need to think it out.
No, Alan. You've not listened to...
You haven't said anything that's convinced me, Colin. Goodbye. Now then, Dave will be with us after the 1 o'clock news. My opinion on abortion, I'll tell you, without any hesitation at all, and that is that abortion has got damn all to do with men. It's between the woman, her God, if she has one, and the unborn child.
For 1 o'clock news, this is Therese Birch. The homes of 3 policemen have come under gun and bomb attack in Belfast as the Protestant backlash continues against the RUC for banning and rerouting loyalist parades. Colin Duncan reports.
6 shots were fired into a policeman's home on the Protestant Rathcoole estate just north of Belfast. He was on duty, but his wife is now being treated for shock. A neighbour says she's lucky to be alive. 2 policemen's houses in the Protestant Shankill area of Belfast have been petrol-bombed, while rampaging mobs of loyalists have attempted hijackings in Belfast and Lisburn, where cars have been attacked and firemen stoned as they tried to deal with a blazing bus. Colin Duncan, IRN, Belfast.
And we've just heard that a member of the security forces has been shot and wounded in North Belfast. The victim was hit in the back, but his condition isn't known. Embassy officials in Beirut are trying to find out what has happened to 2 British teachers based at the city's American university. It's feared the men have been kidnapped after they failed to return to work after the Easter break. Pensioners spokesman Jack Jones says new government plans to extend the retirement age of women is unfair to men. The new legislation means a woman can either work until she's 65 or retire at 60 with a state pension. Mr. Jones says this choice isn't available to men.
Clearly, if you accept that there should be a right to equality in the matter of retiring age, equally there should be a right to equality in the matter of retirement pension. And indeed, I'd like to go further and say that in Europe there ought to be a right to equality in the matter of levels of pension between Britain and other countries like Germany, Holland, Belgium and so on.
Art experts say it will take at least 2 years to restore the treasures of Hampton Court, which were damaged in Sunday's fire. Building engineers are still trying to assess the cost of repairing the south wing of the palace. Here's Rob Golston.
But for the quick-thinking bravery of a team of volunteers who risked their lives to salvage priceless works of art, part of the nation's heritage might have gone up in smoke. As it is, damage has been limited to £135,000. But Sir Oliver Miller, surveyor of the Queen's Pictures, says there's a lot of restoration work to be carried out.
It's a question of finding the people to do the work. I would hope that the total job would be finished certainly within 2 years.
Meanwhile, on the south side of the building, structural engineers have begun assessing the cost of repairing this royal monument, which could cost the taxpayer millions of pounds.
A young Liverpool man who worked his way up from the dole queue has landed a dream job as Prince Andrew's new valet. Mike Rowbottom reports.
2 years ago, 22-year-old John Ratcliffe was one of the many on the dole in Liverpool. He got his break when he was picked from the unemployed at his local job centre. He spent 6 months in South London training for service, then answered an advertisement for a job in a large household. It turned out to be Buckingham Palace, and he's worked his way up from there. Now he'll be responsible for laying out Prince Andrew's navy uniform on July the 23rd, and there are hints he may become the newly married couple's butler after the wedding.
Independent Radio News.
Ring him if you dare. Allan Beswick, The Late Night Show.
Preston, 561,000. And that's what we are. We're with you through the night, or at least Red Rose Radio is with you through the night. I, of course, finish at 2, which means you've got 55.5 minutes in which to get through on the phone-in. How do, Dave?
How do, Alan? I'd like to talk about the fire at Hampton Court. I don't think it's fair that we should have to pay for the damage. I mean, I never said any of these old grannies could live there free.
You never said what?
I never said any of these old grannies could live there free.
Well, indeed you didn't say, but they're not paying to have the place refurbished.
Why are they living there free?
They're living there free because their husbands served their country well.
Well, your dad was in the war, wasn't he?
That's irrelevant. You asked why they were living there free.
Yeah, but I mean, you go to bed with candles and everything. It's our history, this.
Well, one of them went to bed with candles, and that one is now died. There is a fairly strong suspicion that she, in fact, caused the fire. And I, like you, think that if that is the case, then it leaves a great deal to be desired. However, that takes us away from the central theme, and that is, should we, the British taxpayer, pay for the repair of that building or not?
Well, I don't think we should.
Well, what do you think we should do with it?
Well, the building's got to be restored.
Well, who's going to pay?
The Queen?
The Queen?
Yeah.
But the Queen has no benefit from that building. That building is actually available and used every single day of the year by people appointed by the government, as it were, in case of those grace and favour apartments, or it's a tourist attraction that the British public make a lot of money from. It actually makes revenue for us.
Well, I think, the fella who eventually said these people could live there, I think he should be the one.
Why should he be the one? That fellow was probably a civil servant.
Would you put a gang of old women in what really is a tinderbox?
Well, first of all, we do put a gang of old women, to use your disgraceful terminology, in tinderboxes all the time. If they weren't there, they would be in some other state-run accommodation, quite probably.
But they're all wealthy women, why don't you...
Well, first of all, you don't know that for sure, although it seems...
They're all lady this and lady that.
There are an awful lot. There are an awful lot of lady this and lady that who are not as well off as you and I promise you. I am not suggesting that that is the case. I am putting to you that you have no evidence to the contrary.
You can't tell me that. I've yet to hear of a lady so-and-so who's absolutely...
Then you live with your head in the sand, and I refuse to speak to somebody who rejects possibilities as glibly as you do. You are what can only be described as an ill-informed buffoon. Hello, Brian.
Hello, Alan. Good evening. In answer to the question on Fireball XL5...
Answer it now and then get off. I'm fed up with them.
Mitch the monkey.
Thank you. How do Mike? How do Meg?
Hello. Hello, Alan.
Hello, Meg.
Oh, no, I can't talk posh, so give me time. First of all, we've been trying for an hour and a half to
You've got on. Tell me what you want.
We want to find out where we can find you on the radio. We can't find you.
3 all meters, medium wave, 999 kilohertz, 97.3 VHF. How do to Bob?
Yeah, hi. My uncle's a copper, right? And
I don't know whether that is right or not. I'm prepared to take your word for it at this stage.
Okay, lovely. Right, when he comes off duty at night and comes home, I mean, he's not happy unless he's booked someone or nicked someone, so I'd just like to agree with your statement earlier.
Thank you. How do Pauline?
Hello. I had a conversation with you on Sunday about baths.
Baths?
And you sort of said buff, as in B-U-T-H.
Buff? Bath? You've got me flummoxed.
Sunday. Leighton Buzzard Rugby Union, ring a bell.
Oh, indeed, yes. Yes.
Well, it appears that you misunderstood me. My husband was telling me that you thought I'd said bus. Well, I was on about bus, as in buses that go on the road and pick passengers up.
Buzzes?
And I was saying that my little boy says bass, as in B-A-S-S.
I see, as in the fish. Oh, well, in that case, we're somewhat
no
confused.
wonder he thinks I'm a divvy if he thinks...
Well, nothing's happened in recent conversations to change my opinion, Pauline. But a bus bath, who cares?
Yes, well...
The problem is the same in both words, is it not? That these southerners can't talk, and that's that.
Well, it is. And also, another point that you made about all southerners being jesses.
Yes.
Well, I don't know what evidence that you have to say that all southerners are jesses, but I have evidence to suggest that not all southerners are jesses.
Hey, rubbish. I reject any such evidence as being fabricated.
No, 99% of them may or may not.
You got the only good one.
But I've got one that's not.
Thank you very much, Polly.
Thanks, Alan.
How do Jimmy?
Hello, Alan. I would like to talk about gambling, or rather compulsive gambling. I come from Blackpool, and I'm a member of Gamblers Anonymous. Now, at our group, there's a lot of what I would term as kids. Well, I'm 27. the kids would roughly be about average age 12, and I think personally that's a bad way for someone that way to be. Now, most of the kids that come to the group are actually addicted to the bandits, which, as you probably well know, there's rather a lot of in Blackpool. Now, I've always, in fact, I do know that it is an offence for an amusement proprietor to admit a child under the age of 16 in order to gamble on the machines. And I feel that the authorities and the powers that be are not enforcing the law as it stands, and they are not protecting the children from themselves, sort of thing. And as I said, it's getting to the stage where there's more kids than adults are becoming addicted to this silly illness that a lot of people seem to suffer, but doesn't get...
It's not an illness. Don't be giving me all this illness crap. That's the lies you tell to yourselves.
Oh no, Alan. I mean, I am a compulsive gambler. I'm not proud of it, and I'm not ashamed of it. That is the way that I am. No.
But I'm not suggesting that you should be ashamed. I'm just telling you that it's bullshit to say it's an illness.
No, I wouldn't say that, Alan.
It's a chronic inadequacy. It's not an illness at all.
No, I don't have to.
Listen, they can't give you pills for it.
Oh, I know that.
They can't give you an antibiotic. Yeah, you've got an attack of gambling, mate. Have some of this. Crap. You're just inadequate.